Thank you very much, Dr. Advani. Our next speaker is Dean's Honored Graduate, Eduardo Levi. In his undergraduate career, Eduardo completed research with UT's Dell Medical School and the MD Anderson Cancer Center. He co-founded an organization to empower more students to pursue careers in STEM. He served as an Archer Fellow, interning for US Senator Patty Murray, and he served our campus community as part of the CNS Honors Diversity Group and the Student Health Advisory Committee. He is the recipient of a College of Natural Sciences Second-Year Excellence Award, the Blocker Kramer Endowed Scholarship, the NCI Research Experience Competitive Award, and Phi Beta Kappa. Please join me in welcoming Eduardo to the podium.
Thank you for that kind and thoughtful introduction. How are we doing today? No, I know we woke up at 8 a.m., but graduates, come on. You know, I think one of my favorite parts about today is that we get to wear these cords, and if you hold up one end, it kind of looks like Ariana Grande, doesn't it? Yeah? So see, now 20 years from now you can tell your children and your grandchildren that Ariana Grande came to your college graduation. How about that? Anyway, let's get started. Dean Vandenbout, Associate Dean Drew, faculty and staff, fellow graduates, and distinguished members of the community, today is a celebration that for graduates marks the end of their journey at the University of Texas at Austin. These many years have been defined by sleepless nights at the PCL, biology and chemistry labs, debating with your friends whether the squirrel you just saw was albino or not, and sending that Texas taco text every Tuesday just to never win, or knowing anybody that's ever won. Has anybody ever won? No. See, nobody ever wins the Texas tacos thing. For all of that has culminated in today. For family members, today is a celebration of their unbounding love and support. They've been there for us since day one. Through elementary, middle, and high school. We would not be here today without them. In fact, when you look back on it, there's a certain sense of nostalgia looking back on all those times. They dropped us off on our first day of kindergarten. They made our lunch. They helped us learn to read and write. They drove us to marching band practice, soccer practice, and they even took us to HEB at 11 p.m. the day before a project was due because we realized far too late we didn't have enough supplies. They have watched us grow up academically and personally, and in just a few short moments, they are going to watch us walk across that stage and receive our diplomas. Today, we celebrate them. For these reasons and many more, let's give them a round of applause. I want to commend the graduates for their hard work, resilience, flexibility, and grit. Today and throughout the past week of commencement celebrations, we've heard a lot about how these characteristics have carried us through the pandemic. But for our class, more than any other, these characteristics have been crucial to our success because we're the only class currently at UT that has completed a full year of full in-person school, our freshman year. But then after that, our sophomore year, we had to scrap all of that and completely, there we go, completely readapt to a new virtual reality. Let's see, let me flip my page. These are not easy times we are living in. The worst pandemic in over 100 years. 1.5 years of Zoom University, 2 snow apocalypses that left many of us without food, water, or power, 3 boil water notices, and several months of unprecedented social and civil unrest, and most recently, the largest military invasion of a European country since World War II. If you think about that, you have all lived through all of that in just a few years. I don't think most of us realize how consequential these times really are. 20 years from now, we'll look back on this time period and realize that these events drastically and permanently changed society. The world out there is not the same one that existed when we started at this university 4 years ago. I want you to think about that. Let it sink in for a moment. And I don't say that to scare you, but to inspire you. Inspire you because I've gotten to know many of you throughout my time here at UT, and not a day goes by where I am not stunned by the sheer amount of talent, knowledge, kindness, compassion, and leadership in this graduating class. Give yourselves a well-deserved round of applause. Now, many of you know me, and many of you don't. To those who don't know me, nice to meet you. My name is Eduardo. But one thing about me is that I was born in Mexico 22 years ago, and I was adopted when I was 6 months old. My parents are sitting right over there. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. When I was about 10 months old, they dropped everything they had, their home, family, their friends, and they moved to this country in search of a better life. I don't think that in their wildest dreams they would have ever imagined that the son they adopted would be delivering a commencement address at the greatest university in the world. But my story is not unique. There are many of you out there whose families also immigrated to the United States and who have similar identities to mine that have shaped your life stories and defined your time here at UT. And I want to take a moment to recognize some of these graduates. If you are a first-generation immigrant and you are graduating today, would you please stand up to be recognized? And remain standing, remain standing. If you would remain standing, graduates, this is going to be sort of an experiment. If you sat down, would you please stand back up? And audience, if you would save your applause for the end of this recognition, there's a few more graduates I want to recognize. If you are Black, Indigenous, or a person of color and are graduating today, would you please stand up to be recognized? And if you are a member of the LGBTQIA+ community and are in a safe position to do so, please stand up to be recognized. Look at this. This is what makes CNS great. This is what makes CNS strong. And this is what makes the University of Texas the greatest university in the world. Let's give these graduates a round of applause. Thank you. You may now be seated. Regardless of where we came, the color of our skin, or who we love, none of us got here today by ourselves. 13-time Grammy winner, singer, songwriter, and actress Lady Gaga once said, "There can be 100 people in a room, and 99 of them don't believe in you. But all it takes is for one person to believe in you. That makes all the difference." During my time here at UT, I've been fortunate enough to have more than one person believe in me. Shout out to my family, my friends, Dr. Sarah Corson, Dr. Rebecca Wilcox, and Dr. Nico Ozier. Thank you so much. Guidance, your mentorship, and is the mic cutting out? Okay, your guidance, mentorship, and everything that you've done for me during my time here at UT. But Lady Gaga's message is still the same whether you had 3 people, 10 people, 30 people, or 1,000 people believe in you. Her message is to find people that want to see you succeed and surround yourselves with those people, because having those people in your life will take you to new levels. You will accomplish things in your life that you never thought you could accomplish. So if you have someone that has helped elevate you to new levels, whether it be a professor, a TA, a family member, or a friend, reach out to them after today's ceremony and thank them, and keep in touch with them, because professors especially, they love to hear about their students' future successes. But not everyone we meet in life will believe in us the same way that our biggest supporters do. You might people who will tell you or make you feel like you're not good enough, smart enough, creative enough, funny enough to accomplish a certain goal. Or even in the age of TikTok and Instagram, it's really easy to compare to others and, feel bad. But I want you to reject those feelings of inadequacy, of imposter phenomenon, and I want you to embrace the talent, intelligence, and kindness that is inherent within all of you. On the last day of my internship in the US Senate last semester, the senator that I worked for, Senator Patty Murray, left us interns with a piece of advice that has stuck with me since then, and I think will stick with me for the rest of my life, and I want to share that with all of you. She told us that if someone ever tells you that you can't do something, that you're not good enough for something, it's because that person is afraid that you will defy their expectations and accomplish that remarkable thing. So graduates, I urge you to go into the world and defy people's expectations. Don't let yourself or others limit what you're capable of, especially because I'm standing here in front of the next generation of doctors, surgeons, teachers, researchers, lawyers, CEOs, people who are going to change the world. And as I wrap up my speech, I'm going to take a sip of water, but I promise it's water. As I wrap up my speech, I want to leave all of you with one final anecdote. During my freshman year, I was studying with a close friend, a biochemistry major, for an upcoming Chem 301 exam. I believe it was the gas law unit. We were sitting at a table on the second floor of the SAC, now known as the WCP, and at one point he looked up from his laptop and looked at me and asked, "Why do we, as science majors, have to take these awful history and government classes? Why can't we just let the people in the College of Liberal Arts deal with all of that stuff and we'll just focus on the science?" I remember being bewildered by his question, because here we were studying Boyle's law and how pressures and volumes relate to each other, but it turns out that he had a test for his upcoming, history-themed UGS class on the same day as our chemistry exam. And I think I just shrugged off his comment and said, yeah, you're right. But in the almost 4 years since that interaction, I've had a lot of time to think about his question. Why do we, as science majors, have to learn about government and history? And I'm sure many of you felt the same way while taking Government 312L or another liberal arts class to fulfill your degree requirements. And I don't deny the value of becoming an expert in your field of science. After all, that's why we majored in science. It's what interests us. But I want to emphasize the value of a liberal arts education for all people, not just people in the College of Liberal Arts. There's an old saying that goes something like, "Those who don't know history are destined to repeat it." Now, I'm not here to give you a history lesson, but I am here to say that learning accurate history and being informed about how our government works is part of our civic duty, especially because democracy, constitutional democracy is fragile. Democracies fail all the time. In fact, world history shows that the default for governments is authoritarianism. And even today, throughout the world, there are serious problems with protecting freedoms and liberties. So because democracy is not a guarantee, its very existence depends on the participation of its citizens. And I'm not saying any of this with a political agenda or a political goal or anything, because our democracy is not a red or a blue democracy. Our democracy is a democracy of the people, for the people, by the people. And it's easy to think that the Constitution only belongs to lawyers, politicians, and Supreme Court justices, especially because we're too busy reading our anatomy textbooks or rewatching biochemistry lecture slides. But the thing that I want y'all to remember is that the Constitution belongs to all of us, to students, professors, administrators, doctors, surgeons, lawyers, everybody. The Constitution belongs to the people. During my time at UT, and especially this past year, I've had many opportunities to speak with professors, senators, members of the president's cabinet, and people in our community, and they've all told me the same thing. They have told me that in the age of disinformation, our generation, unlike any generation that has come before us, we have a very big responsibility in upholding our democracy. As I mentioned earlier in my speech, the world out there is not the same one that existed when we started at UT just a few years ago. A lot of things have changed, and a lot of things will continue to change. But the good news I have for all of you is that this university has prepared us to enter a brave new world. The past few years have shown us the importance of having knowledgeable scientists, doctors, and researchers in our community, in the government, in the private sector, and in the nonprofit sector. People like you make all the difference when it comes to confronting a challenge like the one we faced for the past 2 years. And I can confidently say that the world is in good hands because the University of Texas at Austin does a hell of a good job at creating the next generation of world-class scientists, thinkers, and leaders. Graduates, march into the future with your head held high and an open heart, because this world, more than ever, needs people like you. Congratulations, class of 2022, and hook 'em horns.
Thank you very much, Eduardo. We will now have the recognition of the degree candidates.